Hello, everyone. This is Abdullah Konte, and I'm with Skylar Nelson, and this is Win Sports, and we're here to discuss the game between the Commanders and the Las Vegas Raiders, as well as talk about their matchup coming up against the Atlanta Falcons. 41-24 victory. They got back in the win column after that, debacle of a game in Green Bay. How do we feel? What do you think? I mean, we were both there, you in the press box, me on the field, so we'll give our different perspectives. Skylar, how you feeling? What do you think of the game? And we'll give some quick thoughts, and then we'll talk about each facet: offense, defense, special teams. Were you surprised by the victory at all?
I wouldn't say I was surprised. I mean, I kind of knew that the Commanders were going to come out and show out. I'm really proud to see, Marcus Mariota, exceeding the expectations and stepping up to the plate with Jaden Daniels down with that knee injury. I do think that, it showed resilience, and it showed the possibilities in Washington's depth, in their depth room for each position. So, it was good to see, them have this victory at home coming off of that disappointing loss to Green Bay. So, it's a bounce back. And, although the injury train is kind of hitting the Commanders a little bit early, it's better for it to hit now rather than later, which we'll get into. But honestly, I think it was a good win. They have a lot to focus on this week as they face the Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So,
just to jump in and say that, we talked about the game a little bit. We did more of a review and not a preview last video that we did, and we'll try to do a little bit more of a balance between the two games. But I think that one thing I said last week was that I thought that they would handle the Raiders, and I think the biggest thing is that, going into the game, I was talking to some people on the sideline, and I was like, if this is a good team, they'll win the game because they have all the pieces in play, and they don't obviously Jaden is their ace in the hole, right? But at the end of the day, you got to have all the other parts of your team be good if you really want to be a good team that's competing for a Super Bowl. And I think they've really constructed a roster that can do that, and I think we saw that. So I don't think most people weren't surprised. I saw there was a guy on Twitter or YouTube or something that was like, this game was so surprising because Mariota won this game, and I was like, no one here was surprised by the win or the success of this team. I mean, because Mariota, as you can see, he can still play a little bit. I mean, I think when you think about backup quarterbacks, he might be the best in the top 2 or 3 best backup quarterbacks in the league. There's certain teams he could probably play for and start. I think he kind of just enjoys that backup role more, and you could tell it meant a lot to him winning this game against a former team. And it looks like he potentially could be playing again against another former team this week if Jaden can't go. Go ahead.
The biggest thing with Mariota too is we've seen these types of performances from him before, week 7 last year versus the Titans, and then week 18 versus a division rival, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, none of this is surprising to me because Mariota, although, obviously Jaden Daniels is the starting quarterback, he's brought he brings leadership to this team regardless. And let's not forget that when Jaden first started, he was that mentor to him, although Jaden is now the starting quarterback. So, I'm not technically surprised, about the win because, as you said before, they had the pieces to win. It was all about the execution part, and they did that at Northwest Stadium on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, let's get into it. I mean, we'll talk about the game itself. What our thoughts were going in. I think everyone kind of felt good about them winning this game. The Raiders did not look great the week before, and I think I mentioned the fact that they were going cross country. This team had 10 days of rest, and for what we talked about was one of the issues in Green Bay was that they just never had enough time to get prepared or rest up. They had plenty of time to get rest up for this one, whereas the Raiders had less time to do that, going all the way over here from playing the Chargers on Monday night. And so I kind of figured that would play somewhat of a role. Their offense just could not get going at all. But let's talk about the Commanders' offense. And, we kind of talked about Mariota already. I think we got to give some kudos and love to the running back group. Like, I mean, it's one of
Yes.
these things where everybody's like, who is going to be that guy who steps up? And we've kind of mentioned it here before. It's just we've always felt like it's going to be a committee. Like, I think that when you think about who has the most explosive ability, it's clearly Bill. But seeing McNichols get his shine, especially because it was weird considering Rodriguez didn't even get activated in the first game, and then
Right.
come this game, he's like starting. So it's kind of like, whoa, I thought McNichols was going to be starting. So it was kind of weird to just see how they kind of go about the committee. But it's kind of nice that anytime these guys get their shine, somebody balls out. Because Rodriguez had some good runs too, but that
Yeah.
McNichols touchdown was a key part of that game considering, at that point it was 10-10. They had a couple blunders, the Mariota fumble. Matt Gay missing a kick. So it was kind of like, yo, are they going to keep letting this team in it? And McNichols is making that, just a heck of a run, being able to break so many tackles and make it. So it was great to see. What do you think about, if you want to talk about running back specifically or just any part of the offense?
Honestly, I just really love where this running back room is going. I mean, obviously, without it, we can now see why, how they are doing without Brian Robinson Jr. Obviously, not having Austin Eckler is disappointing. But at the same time, Bill has been exceeding and matching the expectations that people have seen and had for him since camp. And
Yeah.
obviously, with Chris Rodriguez Jr., I think that they're in the process of moving him back into the scheme just a little bit. They still need to be careful because obviously they rotate that room, as we saw on Sunday a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in terms of just Jeremy McNichols, what I like about McNichols is, because we had some recollections about him over camp. We were like what's going on? And he was getting reps along with Casimir Allen. So, for me, just seeing him 60 yards on Sunday was truly amazing. And I hope that he continues to keep pushing that forward.
Yeah, it's great to see because he didn't. I don't even know how many carries did he have. Did he actually have like very many carries? It's not like he has like the one thing about these committee situations, you don't get the ball a lot. Like for those teams that have one running back, like especially back in the day, it would be like one guy who would get like 15 to 20 carries. Now it's like you get like 6 carries, maybe. McNichols had 4 carries for 78 yards. Like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, the 60-yarder was the big one, but it's not like he's getting a lot of runs. So, when you get that opportunity, you got to make it work. But, one of the big reasons why the run game was probably better, there was a surprise Brandon Coleman being scratched, which was just completely out of the blue. Like, when I heard it on the sideline, I'm like, well, what's going on? And then we saw him chilling on the sideline. And, he seemed fine. Like, we weren't sure if it was a healthy thing. I don't think it's a health thing. I think he's just got benched.
It's not.
And I think he confirmed that? Okay, yeah.
After the game,
Yeah.
he said it was like a mutual decision.
Sure.
Which, obviously people were speculating, like,
what does it mean exactly? Yeah, like I mean, and it could be that like, look, they just felt like for this game they were better going with Paul and Wiley, and it proved to be right because the offensive line looked great. Connerly looked good. Like there was this, they kept Mariota upright. And let's give a shout out to Cliff because. I was critical of his game, the way he called the game last time in the last one, and I thought the game was called excellently. You know what I mean? And obviously it's easy to say when they score 41 points, like, oh yeah, they called a great game, but no, I just thought that the offense looked like they were moving. They looked like they had no issues really. It was just exciting. You know what I mean? And Mariota, I mean, he could have had. I think he could have had multiple touchdowns. The Jalen Lane one, we're going to talk about Jalen Lane on the punt return skills, but this guy could be a player. He just needs to catch the ball a little bit more because there's just been a few plays that he's just dropped. But, that was a good play. It should have been – I don't know how they didn't get a free play there because we all thought the guy jumped off sides. But, they didn't get a free play. They throw it up to Jalen Lane. He drops it. I'm thinking they're going to get another play, but they didn't. But that could have been another touchdown. So, and then the Terry catch, like seeing Terry running down the field, getting his long catch was huge for just this team and for him and for just the momentum moving forward. And yeah, it just was disappointing that they didn't give him the touchdown because it looked in replay that he actually did get that touchdown. I don't know why they did a quick review because they called it a touchdown, then they did a quick review and they said no, but like did they really review it, or they just said, "Hey, he doesn't look like"? I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of weird because every angle I saw after the game was over, because I didn't realize did he score or not. Like, I'm on the field, so I didn't know. Like, we thought it was a touchdown, we thought it was close, but like we didn't get to see anything, so we're just like whatever. It's not until after the game where I was like, oh, he like legit scored. They just legit like kind of hosed him on that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, any comments about the O line or receivers? Anybody you want to give love to? Luke McCaffrey, maybe. I mean, he balled
Yes.
out too. You know.
Yes, honestly, but the thing about it though, for Luke McCaffrey and Debo, one of the things with Luke McCaffrey that I liked was he definitely showed speed and resilience, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you've been talking about this for a while, although people have been dissing Luke, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. I think this is going to be a breakout season for him. You may not see instant impact, but you are
Yeah.
going to see something from him, and
Yeah.
I'm proud to kind of see that he is taking it upon himself to, make that score, and that was his first ever touchdown.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, he just needs some confidence. I really believe that Luke has all the tools to be a good player, and he might not be like a dynamic player like a Terry or a Debo, but
Yeah.
there's players in the league that are just consistent and technical type receivers that are able to last in the league for a long time. Kind of like a Noah Brown. Like Noah Brown's not super flashy, but he does everything generally the right way, and I think that
Yeah.
Luke can be something like that. But he just needs to build his confidence. So I think that was the best thing, and you could tell the team loves him. I mean, they were so excited when he scored that touchdown. They all ran over to him. They were jumping up and down. They were so excited. Like everybody was celebrating with them. Terry went and grabbed the ball, make
Yeah.
sure he got that ball because they always forget to get their first
I
touchdown ball.
know. Just
So
ask
good on
Bill.
Terry. No, good on Terry. Good on Jaden for those who remember and go get it for him. But yeah, I mean, I just think Luke. For those who criticize Luke, I get it. He hasn't performed super well, and even here, like it was kind of like late in the game. I think people would like to see him contribute and make a play like that in the first quarter and the second quarter. So, we're gonna get to the injuries thing, but Terry might be out, so he might have another opportunity. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, if you're done talking offense, I think we should go over to defense. Unless, did you have any other comments on offense or no?
Not necessarily, but I mean, Jalen Lane, that was something that we had talked about. I think
Yeah.
that was one of our predictions, not for this game, but maybe a
Uh huh.
couple games ago, but we knew that it was coming.
What,
And
like some
just,
kind of play. Well, we'll get the
yeah,
specialties for sure, but like, yeah, like the kid can play. I believe that like it might be kind of a slow start, but Jalen Lane in like 3 years from now might be like, yo, that
um,
guy, he's done so much for this team in a way. I really believe that. I think we all knew his ability in punt returns. That was kind of the big reason why they drafted him
yeah.
too, is because he was I remember Adam Peters saying he was the best punt returner in the league or in the draft. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Sorry. I was
But
thinking
let's
about
talk.
years in my head when we had mentioned Luke, but that was
Yeah.
a
No,
special.
no, I get that. I
We'll
get
get to
that.
that.
So let's talk about defense. There's, I think out of the three facets of the game, defense probably struggled the most. I think there was just a little bit too many of these big plays that came. Like the secondary was like kind of hit or miss. They still have not been able to make that turnover. Amos got really close on
Yeah.
that deflection and catch. He almost caught it. He should have had it, and it just seemed like him. I think it was Will Harris that bumped into him. They were just so close to each other. He didn't get to pick, but he's just a really good player. I think out of everybody in the secondary, he's probably played the best. Another person who's been just killing it is Jeremy Reeves. After Will Harris got hurt, Jeremy Reeves came in there, and I mean, the guy can play, man. Like he's just all over the field. He brings so much passion and energy, and I think he's just like a real joy to watch. Safety's probably my favorite position to watch, and he was just all over the field. But that being said, I mean, talking about people like Bobby Wagner who had 2 sacks, he was everywhere.
Yeah.
The D line was the reason why I think that the defense played so well, and I mean, Gino did not have any time at all.
Yeah.
The whole game, I just saw arms just flying at Gino. Like he was never comfortable, never ever comfortable. And I think their O line isn't the best, but still, I mean, this D line has still been impressive because even in the game against Green Bay, I think there are a lot of reasons why people weren't happy about the way that the team played. I don't think the D line was that bad, So, yeah, what'd you think? What'd you think about the defense and how they looked?
Yeah, no. Honestly, between the D line and the DBs, I think that the DBs probably struggled the most. But, that's here nor there. But I
Yeah.
think the D line They had 4 sacks total. Bobby
Hmm.
had 2, Jean Baptiste had 1,
Hmm.
Von Miller had 1.
Yeah, how about Vaughn stepping up? I called a Von Miller sack on the first game, and then I almost did it on the second game, and then I was kind of like, maybe I should stop doing it. That's what
Yeah.
happened, you know.
And Armstrong for sure. Like he
Hey,
had a
Dorrance was good. He was
I was
very
like,
good.
geez, like it was
Yeah,
just, and I was watching, like obviously, like how like, you go on Twitter after the game, and sometimes people pull the footage and like slow
yeah,
it down and
yeah,
repost it. I was like watching like between Armstrong and Duran, I was like, goodness gracious.
yeah,
Like it was just a lot, but definitely, it's good to see this D line flourish. They invested in it, and I feel like it's at its peak right now. Hopefully that
hmm,
they can continue that going. But
hmm,
I think and we'll talk about this as we talk about injuries. There is going to be some concern at the DB spectrum because obviously Mikey didn't have the best
he
game.
didn't play super well. No.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Hmm.
they got some things that they got to think about, especially with
Yeah,
Will Harris, Trey Amos, Marshawn. There's a lot of questions looming around the DB group between
yeah.
the cornerbacks and the safety room.
I was championing them all training camp. They haven't played to the level that I've been talking. I thought they were going to be much more dominant, and I think they've been good. But there have been some hiccups, and for this game, there were some good plays, but there was also some bad plays, and losing Will Harris isn't ideal. They did sign Darnell Savage, who played with the Packers and the Jags. He's a Terp, so he's from this area.
Yeah.
So they are excited about that. But for the most part, there does need to be a little bit of increase in play with the DBs, in my opinion. I think, obviously game 2, they did not play really well at all. I think that, they just needed to, force some turnovers so we can kind of get over some of those big plays. I mean, I think, if Amos is able to get that pick, maybe we think differently about it. I think
Yeah.
we're expecting they played pretty well against Neighbors, but I think we just are expecting them to make a big play at some point. And I think the play. I feel like I'm a harsh critic, and especially in regards to the DB play. But I think that there could be some improvement there. If there's one part of the whole game that just didn't look great, was just kind of like. The Trey Tucker kid had 3 touchdowns. Like, I mean, he was kind
Yeah.
of everywhere. So, they can clean that up. And I know the last touchdown was kind of like in garbage time, but still, like, play to the whistle, play to the end of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, defense overall, I thought was great. I thought it was good. Like, I thought there was things that they could change or things that they could adjust on. Bowers wasn't 100%, so they were lucky there because I felt like, there was probably some more plays that Bowers could have made himself. They did a pretty good job with Genty. Genty ran somebody over. I can't remember who it was, but for the most part, I just thought that their defense played well enough to win the game. But I don't think they were probably the weakest group of the 3.
Yeah.
So that being said, the strongest group of the 3, in my opinion, special teams. Special teams played out of their mind. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you never hear, like, I'll be honest, like, on the sideline, you're more likely to hear people complaining about special teams and never giving them love. Like just interacting with other people on there, like people who are watching the game or people who are covering the game or security guards. Like, everybody's talking, right? Like,
Well,
everybody's talking on the sideline. But go
let's
ahead.
correct something real quick.
Yeah.
Special teams did well. However,
Oh, okay,
Matt
yeah.
Gay.
No, you see, well, hold on. Let me. I'll give you your chance to get on Matt Gay because I know you got like a personal vendetta with him, which is fair because I am kind of at the point where I'm kind of I'm like on your side even more now. But let me talk about the good of special
I'm
teams.
giving him time, but go ahead.
What I was saying is that, like, everybody on the sideline, we're all talking, you know what I mean? Like, even though we're covering, everybody has their opinions or whatever. No one ever says anything good about special teams like that. Like, I never hear anybody, but I heard multiple people being like, yo, what's up with the special teams today? They're like going crazy. And yeah, I mean, like the opening kickoff with Devo kind of set the tone for the game. They were ready. They were active. They wanted to get after it. Jalen Lane, every punt return, he was bringing it. The punter for them did not do well for them because you need your punts to be high and long. He was doing a lot of direct kicks straight to him, so he
Yeah.
has room to catch it and run. But ultimately, I mean, they just a lot of great. There was great tackling. You know what I mean? There's some great tackles on the coverages too. Jordan McGee, Jeremy Reeves. Like there was a lot of great tackles. Like this, the aggression was great. There was a hiccup, and that's where I'll let you jump in. Obviously, you had some thoughts on special teams as well. Maybe not so much optimism as much as I did. So, yeah, what was your take on the special teams play?
I mean, honestly, special teams has been like kind of like a theme in the NFL for the past like 1 to 2 weeks now. Whether that's block kicks or just good
A lot of
return.
weird plays this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of weird special teams plays. But go ahead.
Yeah, but overall, I feel like the Commanders special teams, they play pretty well, especially on the return and on the kickoff. Debo with the 69-yard return for kickoff, like that was insane. And at first I was kind of like, okay, guys, like why do y'all want to incorporate Debo so much in special teams? And he showed me why. So that was definitely good to see. Jalen Lane, obviously, he's still learning how to be in his spots. He hasn't been like the best on special teams, but he really showed out. And for that to be like his
Yeah, I mean,
first,
he was good this game. I mean, he's
yeah,
learning, but like it was kind of crazy to see. There was a
yeah,
jump between the last two, and he actually had opportunities today or on Sunday.
yeah,
Like the last two games, like I felt like every time he caught it, there was just a guy right in his face. This was his opportunity to
absolutely,
actually catch it and find lanes. But go ahead.
yeah. And that's what I mean too. Like the first two games, it was kind of like, like he's just learning. He's a rookie, he's finding his spots. This game, he had his first, for that to be his first ever NFL touchdown moment
Yeah,
is amazing.
yeah,
And everybody was going crazy about it. He kind of
yeah,
sent Northwest Stadium into some shockwaves because of just how big that was. And
yeah.
he just kept going and he stayed
He was
resilient.
blazing. I
He
mean, that
stayed
boy
in his
was
spot.
blazing. I mean, he is fast, man. He is
Yeah.
fast. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and he really showed out. He's young, he has a lot of opportunity, and that moment was, and I was even talking to him about this after the game. That was his first ever like touchdown like return since his college days. So, that was like pretty big, and for that to be his first ever moment in the NFL, I know was just a full circle moment for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So, kudos to that.
Yeah, and I
Now,
think go ahead. Yeah, I forgot about the bad parts.
Matt Gay,
Go
Matt
ahead.
Gay, he's a little
Your boy.
He's a little no. He's a little too inconsistent, okay? For you
Hmm.
to miss 37 but make 56, 47, we got some issues.
Yeah,
Some issues. Like
it's
that's
weird too because like even the one he made at halftime, he kicked it first, and they called a timeout, and he missed it.
he
But
wouldn't.
then yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah, and
that's
so like
valid.
if
He
he would have
would
missed that one too, like he might not have a job today. But yeah, go ahead. I mean, I
he may not have a job in the next 2 weeks.
he might not. He's gonna really have to turn it up. I like. It's actually surprising because Koo from Atlanta, who got cut, that people thought that they'd try to go after him. I thought so as well. He ended up getting signed by the Giants. So
Yeah, I was about to say the Giants just
yeah.
signed
So
him
it's
today.
basically like they're rocking with Gay, but like I don't know, man. Like things gotta turn up a little bit more. I mean, did he clean things up in that game? Yes, but there
Yeah.
is some concern. When
I'm good.
when it's a big game, man, that he's gonna need to make some of these kicks.
And see, that's the thing. Is like this is where special teams comes in. This is why
Yeah.
they're here. When the offense or the defense cannot perform, that's where special teams strives. We've seen games where kicks win games.
Yeah.
And if you're not kicking to the best ability, especially with how the Commanders performed last year and the expectations that they have to uphold this year, I'm sorry, you may just have to pack your bags and take your flight because I don't know
Yeah.
what else to really say. And it's like so many, like even other media people have said this before, and I've said this. Like Washington should have had a kicking competition over the summer, and I'm gonna keep saying that because I do feel like sometimes, especially on this team, as we've seen, sometimes you may not see players show up until there is competition in the room, and like that's fine. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But we have to get to a point where, because even pregame, I was watching him pregame kick, he missed like 2 or 3 pregame, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Matt, like,
There's something I don't know what they like. I'm not sure what they love about him so much. Like maybe there's something that we're just missing, and maybe like I don't know how maybe he's a really good practice player, and then when he gets on the field, there's a little hit or miss kind of
That's fine.
situation.
But for
But
me, say that
no, it's not,
because
and it's not. It's just not like eventually. The problem is if he loses them a game, like I mean, let's be real. If this next one gets down to the wire and they have to kick a field goal and he misses, and it's to lose the game, the fan base is gonna go crazy because they're gonna be like,
absolutely.
"Yo, like we have been all acknowledging and talking about how this guy is not good enough,
Yeah. And it
and
got to a point.
yeah, go ahead,
Yeah, no, not to cut you off, but it got to a point where fans on Twitter and even just in general were just like, Adam, like, you just can't draft kickers. And we talked about this. Like,
yeah,
we talked about this. We saw it all last year with Gonzalez, Siebert, you know, and now this year with Matt. It's just kind of like the pattern continues. And that
yeah."
teams are going to start pinpointing that as not our strong point. And
Yeah,
that's going to be a big thing
you also just
later
want
on
to
down the
be able to
line.
be if you're an offensive coordinator, and I know that they go for it a lot on fourth, or at least that's what they did last year,
Yeah.
and I think they are going to ultimately try to get back to that. But you want to at least know in your wheelhouse that yo, we got a guy who can make it. Like, you know what I mean? We're not nervous. We got to get in the zone. Like, because I mean, think about it. If you're playing in the fourth quarter and you need a field goal, yeah, you might be pushing even harder to try to score a touchdown because you're not so sure about your kicker being able to make the kick. So, you know, if you know that your kicker can make the kick and you just need to get in zone, like you might play a little bit more loose and be able to actually get to that point. So, you know, I don't know. I just think that like it's all fun and games until he costs you a game. And
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest concern is that the Green Bay game, you could say that he was a part of the reasons why they lost. But wait till they play a game where like everything goes well or they're fighting hard and then they need a game-winning kick and he misses it and all hell will break loose. And to be honest, they deserve to get the backlash that they would get because the fact of the matter is you're right. There needs to be some kind of consideration. And maybe they're having these talks, but at the end of the day, you know, it's been the preseason and 3 games that every game we're like, is he the guy? Because he don't feel like it. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, look, they went through a Rolodex of kickers last year. I felt more confident with those kickers last year than these.
That's
This
what
year.
I'm saying because
Yeah.
at least they were able to rotate them out, even though some of them also missed games. I think two of the kickers last year. I think it was
Yeah.
Gonzalez and
But they
Seager.
also the thing about it is like they just got those guys off the street, right? They just signed them real quick. Like this is somebody that they got, and like it's not knock to them. It's just more of like these guys were free agents chilling. This year they went out and grabbed Matt Gay, and like if you're gonna grab him and pay him, I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly how much you're paying him, but they're paying him a decent amount of money. Like you got to perform like the guy that they went and sought after. You know, like when Cyber or Gonzalez made missed kicks, you're like. I mean, what you like? You know what I mean? You weren't that disappointed because you're like, this is just a dude we had that we grabbed like 2 weeks ago. Like, but with
yeah,
Matt
but
Gay, you made all this effort. The investment doesn't match the production at this
yeah.
point. You know?
But even then, all I say is just to have options. I'm not
Yeah,
even saying like, although like I may joke around and be like, pack your bags, Matt. But at
yeah,
the same time, it's just kind of like the reason why I say that is because you're the only kicker here.
yeah,
You're the only kicker here. Like, you know, and you're not performing. At least with Tress Way, he kind of stumbled in the first. He stumbled in the first game, the first 2 games, and then he came back and showed out and showed up and showed out.
Well, it's
But at
also
the same
Tress. He's
time,
been consistently one of the best punters in the league in the last
yeah,
like I don't remember how long he's been here forever. So like, you know,
it's just
you
improvement.
can have a bad game or two if you're consistently good, but like as of right now, we haven't really seen Matt Gay have a good game. So maybe that's
Yeah.
this week. Maybe we're going to talk about how he hits a game winner against Atlanta. I don't know. So let's talk about the Atlanta game. I mean, look, they got a team that they're playing, the Atlanta Falcons that are 1-2. They got destroyed by Carolina Panthers, which is
Yeah.
just odd because, I
Very
mean, I'm
odd.
not saying that like I thought that they would for sure win this game. I just did not think it would be a 30-0 game. I mean, 30 to
Yeah.
0, and
Nothing.
apparently Penix looked horrible. They had to bring in Kirk Cousins, which is kind of like the topic of one of the topics of discussion for this game is that you
Yeah.
know are they going to play Kirk Cousins? Is he going to be the starter, or are they going to rock with Penix? I think they're going to rock with Penix, but also obviously the leash is a little shorter. You know what I mean? Like you know if they're
Yeah.
bringing Kirk in, it means that he might play in this game. He is one of these quality backups that we're talking about. Bijan is still Bijan. He's a great player. Drake London, I'm not sure who's going to be on Drake London. I'd love to see Drake London versus Trey Amos because they're both really tall, long type players. I'd love to see that battle. Lattimore was cleared from concussion protocol today. Is he going to play? I think we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, are you concerned about this game? I mean, generally in the NFL, when a team sucks one week, they turn it up the next week, right? So, and vice versa. When a team does really well, as you can see, like the Packers, everybody's talking about the Packers being the best team last year or last week, and then they lost to the Browns this week. So it's like, it's very possible that you can go down there, especially playing on the road's hard, that the Atlanta turns it up and, Washington comes back down. So do you think that's going to happen? What's your take on like this matchup, and how do you think they'll perform going to Atlanta?
I mean, obviously, with Atlanta, obviously it's kind of a little bit different this year because they're playing Atlanta a little bit earlier in the season. Last year they played them in week 17?
Yeah.
So that to me, that was when the teams were already down the line established. Right now, everybody's trying to figure out what is going to work in week 10, in week 11, in week 12. We need to see what's going to work. And even then, with the Commanders last year, I do feel like they started the season off, the way that we're seeing them start the season off is kind of how we saw it last year, which is why I'm not too concerned yet. But it's just more injuries in the beginning compared to last year. And I think that's really going to speak some type of volume in this game. Not necessarily too much, but to some degree, especially for the DBs. And I do feel like, obviously with the Michael Penix situation, I would be prepared both ways. He may play, he may not play. But obviously for Jaden, I personally don't, unless Dan Quinn says tomorrow he's good, because also too there have been some speculations and it's been confirmed that he was wearing a knee brace on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, which is normal for when you have a knee injury. I don't know why everybody's freaking out so bad, but at the same time it's still a concern. Obviously, because he's the starting quarterback, and
it just means that I think people are concerned because if he's wearing a knee brace, you're right, it could be very much that it's just protocol to put him in a knee brace, which I think some teams do. I don't know if the Commanders do that, but some teams will just put a guy in a knee brace no matter what, right? I think they're concerned because it's possible that the guy is, it could be worse than it really is. That they're making it sound like. I think it's we don't know. It's possible that he doesn't play in this game. I think that if there is any doubt, like I said last week, if he's not 90 to 95%, you just don't play him. There's no reason. You have a quality backup. This is a team that I think can play well enough to win against this, and ultimately you just don't want to risk the guy whatsoever. But the thing is, there have been some injuries, Terry being hurt. We don't know if Terry's playing. Will Harris being on IR now, obviously with Jaden, they're starting to experience some of these injuries, and how this is going to play a role, we don't know. And, I think Atlanta is a better team than Las Vegas, and I think that they're a little bit more desperate after losing the way they lost this week. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to be very prepared. They're going to be, the energy is going to be higher because they're going to be ready to get back after it and right the wrong. Kind of like you just saw what the Commanders did when they lost in Green Bay. It's like, yo, let's turn this up. Let's flip the switch back because we don't want to go down this bad hole or whatnot. So I agree with you that it's a very different game than it was last year. Because both teams are establishing their new identity this year. But it was a close game last year, went into OT. So, the fact of the matter is, I think Atlanta has a lot of talent, and I think it'll be exciting to see these two matchups. But do I think that the Commanders have a better team? I do, and I think that they are more than capable of winning this game. This is not a game that I worry about it just because of what I said about the one team having a good win, the other one having a bad loss, and usually it switches and repeats or switches around. I think it's going to be a close game. I think playing in a road stadium is always hard. I do like that stadium. I'm excited to go. They have a lot of fun down in Atlanta. They're not like maybe the loudest group, but they get after it. And so, I think that I think they can win with Mariota or Jaden. I think obviously you have a much better chance with Jaden at the helm. And as of right now, I do think if I had to put money on it, I think Jaden does play. I've been saying this since last week that I thought he would miss one game, not two. But I also know if there is any doubt in their mind, they feel comfortable enough to go with Mariota, and I think that they should go with
Yeah,
Mariota if there's any
absolutely.
like concern. So
Yeah. Mariota's arguably like the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
yeah, he's
That's
definitely
why,
in the top three. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, for this situation right here, obviously, again, Jaden may or may not play, just like Michael may or may not play. Although one situation is different from another, Michael is based off of performance. Jaden is based off of an injury.
Well, would you? Yeah, like how do you feel about their chances against him versus Kirk Cousins? I mean, it'll be a great story to go against Kirk Cousins, considering he was the quarterback here for a long time. But honestly, in my opinion, if they go to Kirk Cousins, I think Penix is much better, gives them much better chance to win than Kirk Cousins. Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins looked very washed to me last year.
yeah,
And I've been a guy who's a Kirk Cousins fan for a while. I thought the years in Minnesota were actually better than a lot of people want to give him credit for. But I think that if they go against Kirk, I think with the way this defensive line has been playing, they'll get after him. And the thing that's positive about both of these guys is that they're more stationary quarterbacks. They're not super mobile.
yeah. They're more pocket.
Yeah, more pocket passers, not super mobile, not running type quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, I do think Penix is going to play. I do think that if Penix struggles, don't be surprised if Cousins comes in.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. That's
it'll be a good test for them. You know what I mean? They got an even stronger game the following week after that. But obviously they don't want to be looking ahead. But these are the kind of games that they need to. It's easier to win at home. This is one of those ones where it's like, yo, take care of business. You are the better team, in my opinion. That if you play your game, you should be able to win. But everybody, the league is very odd. Seeing this 30-0 score makes
yeah,
no
that's
sense to
wild.
me. Not,
It's
and it's not. Yeah, like I mean, they looked horrible. I watched a little bit of it. They looked horrible on offense. Like they just could not do anything on offense.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that being said, I think it was more of an anomaly. I don't think this Atlanta team is that bad that they're getting beat by 30
yeah,
points, and that's like the norm for them. No, especially
yeah,
to a Carolina team that I don't think is that great either. So,
yeah.
but I
That's
definitely
why
think
I'm
that,
shocked.
yeah,
When I heard that it was like a 30-0 shutout, because I didn't watch the full game,
yeah.
I watched the beginning, and then I was,
It was just weird.
focusing on
Just
a
a
lot.
weird, and that's the thing. Everybody has weird games. Like this is the thing about the league. If you're not prepared, you might get run out the building. Like I think that we saw it with the Commanders playing Green Bay. They look horrible from top to bottom, and we can make all the excuses about short
Yeah,
period or whatever, like short period between games, all that lack of preparation. We don't know. It's just the league is weird because everybody's in the league. Everybody's good enough to be here.
yeah,
So seeing who shows up is kind of like one of the key elements about good teams. Like good teams show up every time. As
yeah.
much as like we don't want to talk about the Eagles, but as much as like the Eagles show up, they
They
even
showed up.
struggled. They struggled this last game, and they showed up and found a way to win. So that's if the Commanders want to turn into a good team, they got to be able to show up every week. And I think we saw that last year. There was a few games. There was that 3-game span where they lost 3 straight playing against pretty good teams, and then the one weird one against Cowboys. But outside of that, they pretty much showed up every week. So I believe in them. I think they'll be ready. So even though I think this game will be kind of close, I do think they win. We can talk about possible like game score predictions at different
Oh,
time,
you
but
think that they're gonna win, Abdullah? That's so
yeah, you're surprised since I didn't pick up the last for the Packers game. No, hey, look, I've been right on all my predictions
Nah,
so
anytime
far.
Abdullah be hating, it actually happens, which is why I'm like, bro, like he's like the one person that like if he says that the Commanders are gonna lose,
I've been wrong plenty though. Like, cause last
why
year,
don't
yeah,
invite him?
I've
Don't
been,
invite him,
yeah,
guys. Don't.
I am known to be a cynic, right? Like I'm known to try to see it both ways, and I think that like there was plenty of games that I wasn't sure about last year that they were able to win. Like I told you, the Cincinnati game, I thought they would get destroyed. And even in the beginning of the game, they gave up a touchdown quick, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a long night. And then they came back and won that. I wasn't sure about Detroit last year. When they played Detroit in Detroit, I thought they could, but I think if you would have asked me who was going to win, I would have said Detroit. The thing is like, yeah, we're guessing at this thing and we're trying to figure it out. But I think this is a good team, though. At the end of the day, I think our analysis is that the Commanders have a good team and they just need to show up and consistently play the way they play, and they can compete with anyone. I honestly don't think there's any team in the league that they couldn't compete with, but it's really about showing up and playing that day. And I think that when we see Green Bay lose to the Cleveland, it just kind of shows that, like, hey, Green Bay might be really good, but it also maybe was that they didn't play that well that day, and that's why they look so much further ahead than they are. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Green Bay play against the Commanders at the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if that matchup happens again in the playoffs if this team, because I think this is a playoff team. I don't know what you think. Do you think this is a playoff team?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, despite the injuries and despite any struggles that happen, I think that they are a playoff team. And we'll see that even more if that comes into effect. Obviously, we can say what we want to say now. But I think we'll be able to determine if it's really going to happen probably by, week 6, week 9.
Yeah.
So, between that.
You're right. I mean, this is still early. They're still trying to find their identity, but they definitely look like a team. Like the way they played in week 1 and week 3, I feel like are more accurate representations of this team. I think they just weren't ready to play in Green Bay, and so no more Thursday. For the rest of the year, they don't have any of these like short rest games. Like even the Christmas Day game, which is on a Thursday, they at least play on Saturday, so it's like they get one more extra day instead of it being like this really, really short period. But at the end of the day, they're a good team. We got to just hope that they continue to play that way. I think that they are going to have success in Atlanta, but we'll see. So.
Yep.
That's all. I think that's all that we have for today. I mean, we're just gonna wrap this up.
You want
to do a score prediction? Okay, I wasn't sure if we wanted to. So, look, let's do. Okay, that's fine. I'll let you go first this time. Give me one thing that you think will happen, and then one score prediction. Whether it's somebody getting a pick, whether it's somebody getting a touchdown. You know what I mean? You could even say, "Oh, I think Jaden's gonna play," and then they're gonna. He's going to score a couple touchdowns or something. It could be anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Bill's going to score a touchdown. Which is becoming a norm. He had a 1-yard touchdown against the Raiders. So
yeah.
I think Bill's going to score a touchdown. I think Von Miller's going to get another sack. And I also think that... Either Debo's going to score a touchdown on a return on, the kickoff, or I think he's just going to score a touchdown in general.
Got it. Okay. What's score prediction?
You
got to only pick one. You can't pick 3 like you normally do. 1.
I got 3 in my head. So let me think. I'm going to say... No, because... Okay, I'm going to say 27-24. Commanders win.
Okay. All right. I like that score. So, I'm going to go with my prediction. I guess I'll do one for defensive offense. My prediction is one, I think Jaden plays, and I think he plays well. I think the fresh legs, it's going to be nice for him. I think he'll play well. I don't think he's that hurt. Just based off seeing him,
I don't think so either.
I think they're being smart about holding him back and watching him. You know what I mean? But I think he's going to play and he's going to play well. And then the second one is that I think somebody's getting a pick, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Amos is getting the pick. I think Amos is good. I mean, honestly, he's good. He's long. He's very instinctive. I think he gets a pick. I think they finally break that, trying to get to, it took them a long time before they could cause turnovers last year as well. They didn't cause an interception until I think week 6 against the Ravens when Mikey had a pick. So I think that The same thing here. They're starting slow with it, but I think Amos has been in position to make a pick a few times. I think he finally gets one. Okay, my score prediction. I'm gonna go ahead and say 31-20. Commanders. I think the Commanders are gonna. I think they're turning it on. I think they're getting ready, and I think there's some issues in Atlanta, man. I think the way Penix played, the fact that I'm trying to think of what their 2 losses were and their win, but they lost to the Bucks early on. Then they beat the Vikings, which is a good win. But I there's something about the way they just lost. I know they'll be turned up a little bit, but I think there's some things wrong with their offense right now. So
Yeah.
I just don't. I think they're gonna have a harder time scoring, and I think this team's gonna be ready to go. And so, that's going to be my prediction. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm going to go out to the game. I'll be there. I'm excited. Can't wait. I love Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's a great one. For those who give us love on our content and, on my pictures, everything that Skylar's doing, make sure you watch out for her stories as well. We appreciate it greatly. If you guys, like this podcast and just want to hear us speak more, obviously feel free to comment, give us ideas on anything. If there's anything you want us to discuss, please let us know. And please like and subscribe, and we'll keep it up. All right. Anything from you, Skylar?
Really nothing, but just show out at our next home game. I think it's gonna be
Monday night against
Monday
the
night
Bears.
football.
Yep,
Bears.
we got this one. You got Atlanta, then Chargers, and that Monday night. People better come out for that. That's gonna be a fun one. That's gonna be a good game. After that Hail Mary last year, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So, anyways, all right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you later.